jungle. There we go.
So the head's already been switched. Maybe the car runs?
No way!
Damn, the chassis is actually pretty minty.
Welcome back to the vlog, everybody. Today, we've got a massive update on the abandoned S15 that I'm super excited to share with you guys, which means we can finally finish this thing off and get the front end cut up and all the rusted pieces all replaced. And it's honestly a game changer for anyone who has an S chassis with rust issues. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, a pretty big update on the Bogan 32 Skyline. I think we kind of need to come up for a new name for this car, just because it's kind of becoming way more legit than the Bogan name represents. We just put in a fresh set of BCBR coilovers. We got my 12 kilos in the front, 8 kilos in the rear. Should feel pretty nice. But yeah, I'm excited. It's got coilovers in this now, so the suspension's gonna feel great. And I spent a bunch of time this morning just dialing in a whole bunch of stuff in the ECU, making sure the injector dead times were set up, all of the dwell timing was set up on the LS coil packs, and I also was diagnosing an issue where this thing wouldn't rev when the turbo piping and everything was connected past around about 5,800 RPM or 5,500 RPM. These things should rev to 8,000 pretty easily. In saying that, you probably shouldn't, but they should be able to rev to 8,000 before they hit valve float. But I was hitting valve float at 5,500 RPM, so that led me to believe that something was up. We took the valve cover off and we did discover that my springs are very fatigued and very weak. In fact, they have a dual spring system, and the inside springs, some of them were cracked and broken. So that's why this thing is valve floating at like 5,500 RPM and roughly around 6,200 RPM when there's no boost added to it. So boost puts more pressure on the valve train. So I did a bunch of research and measured up all the springs. They're identical as the RB30E, so I've ordered some upgraded valve springs from Kelford Cams. They will be here in a couple of days and we'll upgrade all of that. And then this thing will be mint. And in that time, we may also have the piping done. But anyways, that aside, Bogan 32, she's progressing really nice. And once again, start putting maybe some new names in the comment section, because I don't know, this thing's getting too legit for that name. On to this thing. So most of you guys are probably wondering what on earth all of this is. Those are the Kenai, probably already know, but these are like body panels to replace all the common rusting issues on pretty much all Nissan chassis in this era. S chassis, R chassis all have this issue where there are these little things all over the chassis that just tend to rust compared to everywhere else. The person that makes this is my friend Doyle from New Zealand. I'm gonna put a link to his Instagram in the description as well as on the screen. If you need any of this stuff, reach out to him. The pricing is very, very fair and he ships worldwide. And this is just an absolute game changer once again for anyone with an S chassis with rust issues. So first of all, I'm gonna show you probably the most important ones, which are these. And we have two more pieces here that I'll bring with me. And all of this is this whole section in the corner here. So Daiki, show them real quickly. You guys know there's a rust issue in this corner, right? I can tap on this, you can kind of hear it starting to break away. You see the big hole there. You can see in here just how bad that's rusted. And to be honest, that's not that bad. I've seen S15s graded 4 in Tokyo USS auction with worse rust than this, which is mind-blowing to me. I have no idea what they're doing at the auction house, but they need to fix that, because that's just, anyways. Rant aside, check this out. These two pieces here make up everything inside there, and we can replace all of that and weld these in. But before we can get to those, we have to replace these top pieces. These top pieces are renowned for rusting as well, and check this out. Whole brand new piece that goes there. And then this is also a piece that goes here. Now, the best thing about this piece is it doesn't replace the whole arm here, this whole big pillar through here. Or what you're doing is you kind of line this up and then you mark it and you cut on the inside, and it gives you access to everything inside there. That allows us to then be able to also treat and clean out everything in here, because you can't normally get inside here, and this also all rusts internally. One thing that Doyle really pointed out to me, and if you look at his Instagram, you'll see a lot of S chassis or just Nissan chassis in general, when he cuts this area open, even though it is the cleanest looking chassis without a speck of rust, it's always full of rust, these arms. I don't know if it's just the way Nissan designed it, they don't have proper drainage or whatever, but this is a big rust zone. And by the time you start seeing rust developing on the outside, by then it's already too late, as you can see here. Inside here is probably gonna be nasty, and we will probably have to do some more repairs, but that will be okay because we have enough scrap steel for that as well. But I'm really excited. This allows us to pretty much save this front end, but it gets better than just dealing with the rust. These tubs, look at this stuff. Look how much that flexes. Oh, look at all the rust just falling out from me hitting it. But look at this, look, I can bend a dent in this with my hand. Look how bad these tubs are. Whoa, wow. That's yep, look, these tubs were bogged in. Like, that's bog, that's putty, that's filler. It's like such thin steel or tin or whatever they use to weld these in. It's like oil cans in Japan. Like, that's how thin it is. And then they just went over it with bog to try and make it look better. I have no idea why they did that, but hey, Doyle makes a kit that they send flat. Look at this. So we can make brand new tubs from scratch. So we're pretty much changing everything in the front end. This as well, he made custom for me, which I don't even know, like, does he have this information on file or something? But this whole piece here, I asked him for just a little piece. Come look at this. I asked him for just this little cutout. Just this. This is all I asked him for. He freaking made the whole thing from scratch. So now I can just cut that out, weld it in there, and I can get even deeper in there and clean out the rocker. So I'm really happy. Anyways, he knows what he's doing. Go give him some love. If you have an S chassis, need any of the kind of this stuff, like, he's gonna make me a custom piece for this roof section here too. So if anyone needs any S chassis stuff to fix any rust holes in your car, he's the man. Link in the description. Before I get started on everything, I'm just gonna hit everything with the zinc weld-through primer, just so everything's pretty much good for me to handle. Some of this stuff is raw steel still, and I don't want it to flash rust or anything, so I'm just gonna hit it real quick with this. Weld-through primer is actually super cool. Essentially how it works is the chemicals in here, the zinc and whatnot, when you weld it, it galvanizes the weld, which then protects it from rusting. It's actually really cool, kind of like, I don't know if you'd call it a chemical reaction. I'm sure there's another term for it, but yeah, it's super cool. You spray it on everything so that when you weld and you can't get back in behind there to paint over it to prevent rust, it just automatically turns the weld into something that shouldn't rust, if that makes sense. While the paint's drying on the other side of the pieces now, I'm gonna get straight into cutting these tubs out, just so I know what I'm working with. One pro tip as well is Doyle said that I don't actually need to make a jig or brace my struts, because we're not like cutting this main piece straight out, we're just cutting a small piece out the top here to get access to everything. This shouldn't move. And another thing to take note is you're not putting weight on the front of the car with jack stands or anything. The lift, everything is behind the firewall, so this is kind of just free here and shouldn't be putting any pressure or strain. If you are worried about it though, you could make a jig, but I'm gonna trust Doyle on this one. We're gonna get straight into it. I'm gonna cut all these pieces out, and we'll see what's under these tubs. I know it's gonna look pretty bad. Oh my gosh. Daiki, look. Look at all the putty. Look at all the putty. Like, what is going on? I have no idea. Seems like the side panel here was a much thicker steel than what they put in the top. Wow. Oh my gosh, there's just so much putty in this. Look at this. All just putty and paint. There you go. All right, let's get on to the other side. We're definitely going to be cutting a lot more of this out, clean this all up, but at least we kind of know what we're dealing with right now. That's the main thing I wanted to know. So we'll get the other side cut out now and should be good. This one has way more putty than the other one in it. It's so heavy just because there's so much putty in it. Wow. Well, they're out now. We got room to work with. Here you go. There's a big chunk of putty coming off. There's so much putty here. It's gonna take forever to clean off. Up here doesn't look like there's much putty, but definitely in here there's a lot. We'll have to grind and sand all of that out. Luckily we have really good exhaust fans in the shop, and what we do is we run the exhaust fan with like a window cracked, and it just creates this airway that pulls all the dirt and dust straight out. Obviously the big stuff falls to the ground and we just sweep it up. Oh, there's so much putty through here. Look at how thick it is there. You can see like there was just a bunch of really bad welds here, like just chicken poop. Like probably someone that just used a welder that didn't have gas. And they just kind of smoothed it all out by adding more and more like body filler and putty there. Interesting. All right, just got good bones though, good skeleton. Make this thing look good again, don't worry. Let's see what we're working with here. I'm really concerned. Oh, God. Come look at this, Daiki. Let me get a light. Oh my God. This is what I was saying. Like, look how bad this is. All under this panel here. And they all do it. So luckily, looks like I missed a spot weld right there. Look at this. So water just sits in between these two panels and just corrodes through it. So having a look here, most of the rust is just on this panel up the top that we're replacing. And if you have a look inside, you got that hole through there, which we've got that piece to replace it. So I think we're good. I think we're in all the clear, and everything else inside there looks actually really good. Everything that's rusted, we have pieces to replace. So I think we locked out really good there. And this was the worst side. So if this is the worst side and that's how good it is, then yeah, we're gonna be fine on the other side. I'm actually really excited about that. That's actually really encouraging. It means that we definitely made the right move by not replacing all of these. Also, I cut inside the line, and I know I'm gonna have to trim more off later when we put the fresh new piece in. You can see that for me to make this flush, I'm gonna have to cut a little bit more out, which is totally okay. And that's what I want, and we will be doing that later. But yeah, I'm really happy. I'm super glad we did this. It means it's gonna save us from having to change the entire, like, what do you call this, front quarter? I don't know. But anyways, we do have a replacement quarter over there, but I'd rather do this and learn and kind of pick up a new skill than just replace the whole thing at the body shop. So I'm actually really enjoying this. This is gonna be fun. It's time to get rid of my putty tubs. And while I could just throw these in the trash, trash disposal in Japan's a little more difficult. So we have something else here. It's called the shop window. Yeah, there we go. Out of sight, out of mind, right lads? I don't remember if I showed you guys this in the video yet, but I have pieces for the Skyline as well, just because we had a couple little rust spots here, and if they're here, they're most likely under there, so I'll be replacing that panel as well once we get to work on the 33.4 build. But yeah, Doyle makes a whole bunch of pieces, and I'm really excited. What I wanted to show you is I started working out like how the tubs go. We're gonna have to cut a lot more out because it replaces everything pretty much here, which I'm really excited about, and I'm putting the wrong piece in there. But it's this one. I love this because what we can do is we can cut nice, clean, new intercooler piping holes. But yeah, this has to be cut out more and everything has to be chopped out to suit it. But we can at least place kind of everything in there and give you guys like an idea of how these tubs are gonna look. And I just love the fact that we're able to get this in like a flat pack. It's great. Grab this bad boy. Look at this. It's gonna look something like that. How good is that? Oh, I'm so excited. The pieces like fully down to the seam there on the main rail. And not only that, but we have these pieces here, which I believe this goes inside here, right? And seals that whole section up so you don't have any gaping holes there. So it's like a full proper sealed in tub kit. Really excited about that. It's gonna make it really nice. And then these here are actually to replace, or if you've broken or lost your plastic cover here for the fuel tank, like filling tube pipe there, this goes in there and replaces that like that and covers it and keeps it protected from anything sticking up. Now I have one on my car, but I got one of these for Daiki because Daiki's comp car doesn't have one. So here you go, Daiki. Don't blow up your car while drifting, please. Also, nice hair.
ありがとう
When are we making it pink?
ピンク after
After? Honto? While the camera was just off, Daiki was freaking out about his hair. He's gotten all self-conscious about it. What's wrong with it? It looks great.
yeah
You don't like it? Too much?
too much
Too much?
yeah
Was it expensive?
no
No? Was it good?
it's
Cheap?
like テストだから
Oh, test.
Yeah.
So it's free.
Yeah.
Ah, so that's why you can't complain. That's why claim できないのテストからね。でも, I think it looks great. I think it looks awesome. Anyways, guys, I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about these chassis a little bit. So get your seats out, get a coffee, and sit down. This kind of raises the question, right? And it's something that I wonder, and I'm sure a lot of you guys wonder in tinfoil hat time, right? And conspiracies and all that. It's very clear that there's a lot of like factory manufacturing flaws on these chassis, right? I feel like Toyotas generally don't have this many issues, but the S and R chassis are plagued with them. Once we learn about them, we're able to, combat it by making these aftermarket replacement parts, just like what Doyle's doing with his company, which is awesome. And we're seeing more of that kind of pop up. But the thing is you don't find that stuff generally until it is too late. And there's not really anything you could probably do to prevent that. Even if you did do like internal wax, like sealing there, the fact is water's getting in between those panels. And the only way you could probably prevent that is if, one, it was treated before they were tack welded together, and then two, seam sealed was applied on the inside and the outside, because what it seems like is water kind of drips on the inside, settles in there, and then just gets trapped. But yeah, it makes me wonder, because a really good engineer who's developing all this kind of stuff, and this may be just because today's technology is a lot more different and people are aware of this stuff more. I don't know, and I want you guys to tell me in the comment section. But I feel like a good engineer would have seen that and gone, that could be a problem. We should fix that. And I'm starting to just wonder though, did they find those issues? Did they bring attention to them to fix it? Or were they just told, hey, actually leave that there because that's not going to be an issue for 20, 30 years. And by then, we don't want the car to last that long. We want our customers to buy new cars. So, it is kind of the age-old question. Are these manufacturers and factories and companies making stuff so that it does have a shelf life, so that it does break and fail over time and over a certain amount of time, which means you're going to be a returning customer or eventually, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just curious. I think it's interesting. Definitely at this point, we're hitting like 30 years on a lot of these chassis. So we're really starting to see these, issues that develop over time. Whether or not your car was kept in the garage or not, I think this is still an issue. You take the car for a drive on a rainy day, water's gonna get in there, it stays there, gets trapped, stagnates, and just corrodes away. And depending on, where you live and condition of how humid it is and all that type of stuff will really add to that as well. Especially if you're close to the ocean, salt's in the air, and there's so many variables. Winter, salt on the roads, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. I still love these cars. I love my Nissan shitbox, excuse the French, but that's pretty much what they are at this point. But I have to end on this note with this little rant. It really makes you wonder if new manufacturers that pop up really are good cars. You know, a lot of these new electric car brands like Tesla and stuff popped up out of nowhere developing these cars and series and stuff. And I know we've seen already a lot of longevity issues with them, but it makes you wonder if these ones are starting to have issues like this internally that you can't see until like the 30-year mark. What's gonna happen in 30 years to all these other new cars? And it's really got me worried for the future, to be completely honest. That aside, that could be another whole video in itself. We're gonna go get some dinner. On a cold, wet day like today, there's really only one choice: ramen. What's the name of this restaurant?
Ozakura.
Ozakura?
Yeah.
So this is like a chain,
Yeah.
like a chain restaurant, right? They're all over Japan. So I've never eaten here before.
Like, Yokohama area.
Yokohama area? Oh, so like Yokohama style? Oh, okay, there you go. Because like different areas have different style, right? Yeah, so you can get different flavors of ramen. This is what the menu looks like. Now, a lot of these places don't have English, but I swear these places have some of the best food. I don't think there would be anything on this menu that wouldn't be good unless you're allergic to some stuff. Then I'd probably stay away from it, especially if you're allergic to fish, because they use like, you know, certain fish oils and stuff, seasonings and things like that in all of this. Here's what dinner looks like, lads. We got the spicy chili spring onions on the top of a chashumen ramen, which is just like a heavy pork-based one. And then Daiki, he got the normal ramen with negi.
Not spicy.
Not spicy, because we're gonna chow down. Back home now, guys, and obviously the end of today. But I gotta say, I am really excited that everything arrived that we need for the abandoned S15 to fix the front end of the car. I'm learning new skills. I'm learning so much as we go along just in general with this build. I've never taken on a project this big before, so it's been really fun going through everything, and I'm just overall really excited to see the end result. I'm sure you guys are just as much as I am. This car was literally a real life barn find, and just how everything happened with it. If you haven't seen the previous videos, make sure you go back and watch the playlist. But yeah, it's just insane where the car is now compared to how it was when we got it. And we are so close. We get all this stuff on the front end done. We can move to the next stage of the build, which is pretty much body and paint, which we'll be dropping off at the body shop. And then from there, it's then engine in, interior, making everything look sick, body kit. Like the body kit should get fitted at the body shop, I think. It just depends on the timing of everything. I think we'll get it all painted at the same time. But yeah, I'm excited. Hope you guys are too. Smash that like button, write us a comment, and subscribe. Make sure you go to SAMMIT.net and grab yourself some of the new merch, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.